We live in an instant, gotta have it now, no time to wait kind of world. There are fast food restaurants with drive-through lanes so you can hurriedly get your food. You can even order your food online, and then you can pick it up curbside, which that's kind of weird, but it is handy. They actually bring your food to you, people. That's how lazy we become. We have groceries that can be ordered online, and then you do the curbside pickup thing again, and you can get them picked up. You can pick them up, or they'll deliver groceries to you, which some of you I know have taken advantage of that. And that's really, really weird. But here's the thing, you've got to have it right now. That's the reason. And some of you probably know that there are drive-through weddings. Just think about that. Now, some of you know that Marcia and I are originally from Las Vegas. Well, we're not from there, but we lived there for 17 years. And guys, this is really a thing. People do this. And here's what I want to ask is, who in the world is in that big of a hurry to get married? Oh my Lord, look at them. They raise their hands. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here's the deal. I want you to avoid whoever raised their hands. That's a problem. That's a problem. Oh man. So I got a couple things here tonight that I want to show you if I can pick it up and not make all kinds of messes here. So let me just show you a couple things that we've got here. All right. So this is one of my favorites right here. They're Quaker oats, okay? And these are what we call quick oats. Because here's the deal. Slow oats take a whole 5 minutes to cook, right? So we're in such a hurry that we've got to have them right now. Oh, this is my favorite. There's minute rice. Minute rice. So you know what's funny about minute rice? Listen to this. It takes 5 minutes to make minute rice. Now, isn't that false advertising? It is, isn't it? It's false advertising. I don't even get that. I mean, minute rice, 5 minute rice, nobody would buy it because they're in such a hurry, but 5 minutes to make that. So here's what they did. Because they knew they were lying, okay, that it took so long, they came up with this lovely, delectable stuff right here. It's called ready rice. Now, if you're a college student, you've probably eaten this wonderful stuff. Here's what happens. It comes in a container, and all you have to do is put it in the microwave, okay? Yeah. Here's the problem with it also. It probably has ingredients that you could open this and it would be there in 7 years, right? So it's super healthy. And this is long grain white. I thought about getting, what do we eat here? Red beans and rice. I should have done that. But this is truly, this is really my favorite. Regretfully, there is instant coffee. Why? Why? Why, seriously? I mean, why would you drink this coffee right here when you have delicious coffee? In fact, Ryan, could you do me a favor? Could you bring me up a cup of the delicious, delectable coffee now? This was just, ooh, it's warm and it's delicious. I'm breaking my own rule in the sanctuary, but I'm the boss, so I can. And so, I mean, it's in my Every Soul Matters to God cup. But can you just take a moment and just let me enjoy this for a second here? By the way, this is Tanzanian peaberry, people. Peaberry. Don't know what that means, but it's a peaberry. Which that's kind of a nasty sound, isn't it? Peaberry. What is peaberry? They're really, really good. I guess there's two little whatever's beans together. They're small, but they're pea berries. Yummy. Yummy, yummy. Okay. So that's really good. You know, I just have to say this, glory to God for good coffee, okay? Because some things are just not meant to be instant. Okay, good. Now I've got that off my chest. So I think I'm going to give this stuff away tonight. So who would like some cardboard in a can so for breakfast? Let's see. Hey, can you come and take this and just give this away to somebody who's starving, Ryan? And you know, you can open it now if you feel like it. You can just chew it. It's really good. Minute rice. Who wants the here, there, come get it. Come and get it. All right, come and get it. 5-minute rice.
I'm in a pink shirt, sir.
There you go. That's awesome.
Manchester United.
That's awesome. Oh, Manchester United. Awesome. That's great. That's too cool. So he's got that. Now this is my favorite. Who wants the Ben's Original Ready Rice? Oh, my Lord. They are fighting over it. Now here's the thing. I need you to understand something. It is against my faith and my religion to give away Folgers instant. So that's gone. But what I will do is I'll give somebody a pound of real coffee from right here. And since you came up, there you go. All right? There you go. Tanzanian peaberry people. Peaberry. Oh, I love coffee. You know, in recovery, you sometimes want the same thing. You want things right now. And you want the desire to use or to act out to go away right now. You want friends and your loved ones to trust you and to be right back in relationship with you right now. You want your relationships to mend right now. And you want your life to go back to normal, whatever in the world that means, right now. But recovery in life doesn't work that way, especially things like unhealthy urges, trust, and restoration. These things take time. And if you're going to have a real life-changing transformation, listen, folks, you have to learn to trust in God's timing. It's just so important. There are things in recovery that need to be taken care of immediately, however. And one of the biggest mistakes that people make on a daily basis is when they offend or hurt someone, and they blow it off, and they don't address the issue quickly. And this can lead to bigger issues and more consequential problems. We've arrived now at step 10, where we continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, we promptly admitted it. You see, step 10 reinforces the moral inventory that you took in step 4 by maintaining your moral and ethical compass. In the 4th step, you took a look at the past behaviors, the triggers that caused you to act out, and then you wrote them down in order to process through the pain. And those behaviors that had brought into your life so much pain. And in step 10, you continue the process by logging your current and future behaviors in order to nip destructive character defects in the bud before they become unhealthy patterns of behavior. By promptly admitting your imperfect moments, you're able to reduce the illusion of control and limit the cycle of guilt. 1 Corinthians 10:12 says, "So if you think you're standing firm, be careful that you don't fall." Step 10 is an active, ongoing, continuous step. It's not a one-and-done deal. It must be practiced daily, and working on the 10th step means continuing to do all the things that you've been doing for your recovery so far. So here's some of the things that you do. You continue to be honest. You have trust and faith, and you pay attention to your actions and your reactions. We've learned to pay attention to how our actions affect others. And when the effects are negative or harmful, promptly stepping forward and taking responsibility for the harm caused, and then that leads to repairing it. And this is what it means to take a personal inventory and then promptly admit your wrongs. You know, step 10 is all about perseverance. Far too often, people in recovery do the first 9 steps and then they rest on their laurels. In other words, after finishing making amends for the wrongs that they've done, they think it's time to take a break. They go, whew, man, I'm glad that's over with. I went through a lot. But listen, you can easily fail and fall back into old habits, and therefore you need to maintain the work that you've started. This is exactly what steps 10 and 11 and 12 are. They're what we refer to as the maintenance steps. It's been said that steps 1 through 9 will get you sober and spiritually fit, but step 10 will keep you there. By working steps 10 through 12, you'll be on course and not fall into old habits. Step 10 is really like the previous 9 steps, all wrapped in one. The first 9 steps are about stopping the damage of your addictive behaviors, and then identifying and cleaning them up, all the harm that you've done. And then step 10 begins the process of learning to live differently right now. Step 10 is an ongoing version of steps 1 through 4, and then through 9, where you take an inventory of the situation, okay? That's the first thing. Identify your part in it, and then when necessary, make an amends or a correction in your direction. So let's read step 10 again. We continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. The key word in step 10 is what? Promptly. You take stock of your day and identify if there's any old unhealthy character defects and the patterns and behaviors that you might have exhibited. And you also recall if you have offended or hurt anyone. And if you have, you take care of it immediately. Again, what's the name of our message tonight? Right now. That's the key. Now, if you choose to delay, you're putting off what needs to be handled promptly. Rather than identifying your defects of character or handling the wrongs you've committed, you decide to wait. You say, man, I'm going to take care of it another day. And then you wait. And then you wait. And before you know it, you've completely forgotten. Your unhealthy patterns of behavior are becoming more prevalent, and the hurt that you've inflicted on certain people grows deeper. Denial starts creeping in, and resentments begin to grow. So, what's another word for delay? Procrastination. To procrastinate is to delay or to postpone action. It's to put off doing something. And family, let me tell you, there are consequences for procrastination. When you know the right thing to do, but instead you delay or you postpone taking action, you're procrastinating and you're engaging in what I call delayed obedience. So do me a favor. We're getting to the point where I want you to start taking some notes here, okay? So get these out. Please pay attention. This is going to be important for you. Delayed obedience. Very, very important. Now, get a pen, by the way. If there's no pens in front of you, grab one of your neighbors. Get them to give you a pen as well, okay? Tonight I'm going to share some of the consequences that you can expect if you engage in delayed obedience. And then I'm going to share the benefits of handling these things right now. But before we get into the meat of the message, let's first look at the warning signs of delayed obedience. First, you start to compromise. That's the first one. When you start compromising your recovery by doing things contrary to what you've been taught, you're in danger. You're engaging in delayed obedience. Listen to James 4:17. It says, so whoever knows the right thing to do and fails to do it, for him is sin. To delay taking care of the things right then, you're engaging in sin. You know, here's some examples. Looking at women in bikinis, it isn't looking at porn, right? Just one drink won't hurt. Listen, I'm prescribed this medicine. And even though I feel high on it, I need it. I haven't done any shopping for a long time. I deserve to go on an outing because I've been doing so good. Oh, yes, our marriage is struggling, but counseling never helps. It's way too expensive and it takes too much time. Oh, I know that I hurt my coworker with my harsh words, but he deserved it. He had it coming. Our son is in jail for the umpteenth time, but I'm his mom. I have to get him out. You see, your little compromises begin to grow, and before you know it, you cover up a minor slip in your recovery. You say to yourself, nobody needs to know. It's just this one time. Job 31:33 says, have I tried to hide my sins like other people do, concealing my guilt in my heart? Instead of addressing your weaknesses or failing immediately by contacting your sponsor and confessing, you hide it. And your little lie starts to fester and grow, and then compromises become a pattern of behavior. Now you've developed a really unhealthy pattern. I can't tell you how many times I've seen this happen. For the first several months of your recovery, you are all in. Pastor Lane, I'm going to do the deal. You're never going to not see me here. You did things like you did a process group, and then you've got yourself a recovery mentor, which we call a sponsor, and you call them frequently. You take advice and instructions. You started journaling so that you could see if there were bad patterns developing. And we see you in church on Saturday nights and Sundays. You're here on Tuesday nights. You're here for Life Recovery Central on the weekends. You are all in. You're doing other recovery gatherings. And then it happens. You got distracted by your job. Oh, I'm busy. Pastor Lane, I've got a job. I'm busy. All of a sudden, a member of the opposite sex walks by. You start chasing her or him. Or then, here's the other one. It's just called complacency. Man, I'm hanging out. I'm just watching TV. Man, things are good. Oh, you know what I love to hear? This one. Things are great in my life, Pastor Lane. And I haven't heard from you or seen you in weeks. You know, I know. Things aren't great. They may be great right then, but you're really close, okay? You're at a point right now, guess what? You're in a familiar bad place. And you say to yourself, how in the world did I get here? Paul says it best in Romans 7:16. He says, for I don't understand my own actions. For I do not do what I want, but I do everything that I hate. And that's how it happens, right? Now here's the other thing. What I do want you to understand, the Apostle Paul is saying, is guess what? We're going to sin and we're going to fail sometimes. And that's not a time to condemn yourself or say, hey man, I'm just going to give up. When you fail and you fall, it's time to get back up. It's time to come running back to CR. It's time to run to church. It's time to get back to what works for you. Now, if and when you begin to realize the warning signs of delayed obedience, it's time to make a U-turn and head back to what works. For goodness sakes, if you start faltering in your recovery, it's time to come back. And always remember, here's something I want you to know. Always remember, you can come back home. You can. We're never going to go, where have you been, you big loser? We don't do that, okay? We're going to say, we are so happy you're here, okay? But just in case you're not convinced of the warning signs I just mentioned, maybe I can help you avoid the pitfalls by sharing the consequences of delayed obedience. First, when you procrastinate and don't handle your shortcomings or compromises immediately, you risk causing damage to relationships. You know, one of the byproducts of a history of compulsive or addictive behaviors is the damage done to the most important relationships in your life. Matthew 7:12 says, do to others whatever you would like them to do to you. This is the essence of all that is taught in the law and the prophets. When you get some sobriety and some victory, You start to develop relationships with those you've harmed. And step 10 says when you're wrong, you promptly admitted it. And when you engage in delayed obedience, you risk damaging all that you've worked so hard to regain. So don't go backwards, keep going forwards. Here's another consequence of delayed obedience. You become desensitized. And let me explain. When a person engages for the first time in a harmful behavior, they experience some anxiety. And oftentimes they experience fear and usually remorse. But after sinning over and over again, you become desensitized, and it no longer bothers you. And when you've been working the steps and you've been fully engaged, listen, you're totally committed. But when you allow complacency and compromise to set in, you become numb to sin. Romans 1:28 says, and since they did not see fit to acknowledge God, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. In other words, he just lets you do it. You know why? Because you need to hit a wall. And here's the last thing. You stop working your recovery. That's another consequence of delayed obedience. When you stop working step 10, that old familiar sin life starts creeping in and eventually becomes the norm. This is why these three steps in recovery are so important. They truly are the maintenance steps. They keep you on track and engaged. Step 10 is where everything you've learned up to this point is now lived out on a daily basis. It's much like learning a new foreign language. Here's the principle. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use it, you lose it. So practice step 10 on a daily basis. And when you're wrong, take care of it when? Right now. And when you do, you'll experience the benefits of immediate obedience. Now, speaking of the benefits of immediate obedience, Pastor Rod, my boss, wrote a wonderful, wonderful book on obeying God in every circumstance. And this is a wonderful book to get, and I promise you we'll have them for sale next week. But who in this room will actually read this if I give it to you? All right, go, it's too hard. Hand this to somebody who is an avid reader or somebody who just learned to read this week. But whoever's going to read it. All right. Now, you have to promise me, whoever gets it, you're going to read it. All right. The most effective way I know of working step 10 to the best of your ability is to journal. And we have journals that are available at the guest center. And what you do is you want to journal about your day and every part of your day. And you can get one of those journals at the hub tonight. Here's a practical way to get started on your daily evaluation. Ask yourself, how did I show love to others? Did I act in an unloving way toward anyone? Did others see in me the joy of having a personal relationship with the Lord? If not, why not? You know, one of the problems that Christians do is we're some of the orneriest, nastiest people sometimes, right? And if you're like that, stop telling people you're a Christian. Here's another question. How was my serenity or my peace? Did anything happen that caused me to lose it? What was my part in it? Was I patient? Man, I struggle with that. What caused me to lose my patience? Who do I owe an amends to? Hey, I think I owe an amends to a couple people over the last week, and I need to take care of that. Would anyone say that I was kind or good? In what ways did I act unkind? How was my faithfulness? Did I keep my word with everyone? How was my gentleness and self-control? Did I lose my temper or speak harsh words or unkind words to someone? Listen, when you're journaling, the key is not to write, oh, it was a good day. It was fun. Had a good day. No. Write the real stuff, okay? Write down the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's dig deep. Let's try to grow and become more like Jesus, not just do foofy stuff, all right? And when you put the events of the day down on paper, you're better able to start the process of rectifying the wrongs by promptly admitting it. And guess what? You're addressing it right now when you see that. Now, here's another benefit of immediate obedience is you strengthen your relationship with others. This is awesome. I just love this. You strengthen your relationship with others. That's a benefit of immediate obedience. You know, and the other thing, I think I missed this. Did I miss the first point? Whew. I got going fast, didn't I? All right, here's point 1. You drastically reduce the chance of relapse. Yes, that's good. I'm telling you, this coffee got to me, apparently. No coffee on stage. You drastically reduce the chance of relapse, and secondly, you strengthen relationships with others. You know, while delayed obedience weakens and even destroys relationships, immediate obedience strengthens them. When you promptly admit your wrongs, you're practicing humility. And humility is the foundation of developing strong and healthy relationships. Proverbs 22:4 says, "The reward of humility and the fear of the Lord is riches and honor and life." Isn't that an awesome passage? Am I saying that you'll become wealthy, living a life full of honor because you develop this daily practice of working step 10? Man, I wish I could tell you that. But I can't do that. What I can promise is you'll be rich in relationships. By practicing this principle every single day, your life and your relationships will become richer. Who in this room could use rich relationships? Yeah. And then, of course, here is the last. This is the last benefit that I'm going to tell you about tonight, is immediate obedience as you strengthen your relationship with God. And let me explain how this happens. Before you journal, I want you to begin by saying, and first of all, ask God to be involved in the middle of the process, okay? Begin by praying, and pray Psalm 26:2. Which is a simple prayer. It says, "Test me, O Lord, try me, examine my heart and mind." And then say something like this: "God, I need you to show me where I did good. Show me where I need some improvement, and show me, God, where I fell short. Lord, I need you to help me keep my side of the street clean. And God, I need your guidance. Show me and then help me to immediately obey you. Lord, I need you, in Jesus' name." Just something simple like that. Invite him into the situation. And by practicing and living out step 10, you'll develop intimacy with God. And you'll start to recognize his voice and his promptings. And your daily communication with the Lord will be a stronger two-way conversation. He will listen to you, and you'll develop the skill of listening to him. You know, we've been learning about the importance of working step 10, and it's a critical step that will save your life here on earth if you practice it. But it won't save you. It won't save you. Only Jesus can do that. And the life that he has here on earth for you will be more amazing than you can ever imagine. When you put your faith and your trust in Jesus, everything changes, and your life becomes fuller. Will you still have trouble? Yes, you will. But you'll have answers because you'll know how to maneuver through it. But your life in eternity with him is indescribable. Let me share the greatest example I know of immediate obedience. Mark 1:17 says, "And Jesus said to them, 'Follow me, and I will make you become fishers of men.' And immediately they left their nets, and they followed him. And going a little further, he saw James, the son of Zebedee, and John, his brother, who were also in the boat mending nets. And immediately he called them, and they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants, and they went away to follow him." What I want you to understand about that passage is they left everything. They left their careers. They left their relationships. all their stuff, everything. And you know what? They didn't even hesitate. They didn't procrastinate. They didn't say, hey, Jesus, I'm sorry, man. I got to go handle this situation. No, they left it all. And here we are 2,000 years later. We're still talking about their legacy. We all need to learn how to immediately obey. And I think tonight is an opportunity for us to invite Jesus into our lives. Some of you are kind of going through the motions. And I just want to pray for you tonight. If you've been struggling, let's say you've ran from God, I want to pray that you'll reconnect with him. But some of you here are still hesitant to place your faith and your trust in Jesus. So I want to encourage you tonight. Let's all close our eyes right now. And will you do me a favor? Just let me pray for you. But I have a question for you. Are you ready to immediately obey and follow Jesus? Lord, we come to you tonight, and there's so many of us in this room that we've been trying to do things on our own. We have failed miserably, and our lives are falling apart, God. And so, Lord, I just ask you right now in the quietness of this moment, Lord, that you'll speak to specific people and let them know, God, that it's okay to trust you. And Lord, I pray for the person in the room tonight that's at their end of their rope. I sense there are people here that don't think there's any hope for them. And Lord, I pray that they'll simply do this, just admit to their sins. Lord, believe that you are exactly who you say that you are, that Lord, you indeed died on a cross. You were buried and you rose 3 days later, and you are alive today. And Lord, I pray that they'll just simply confess you as Lord of their life and give you the steering wheel of their lives. And God, we know that when we do that, something changes inside. So Lord, I pray for whoever it is in this room who just said that little prayer, that God, they'll experience fullness of life. We love you, Jesus, and we thank you for the opportunity to serve you. It's in Jesus' name we pray. This is tough stuff, isn't it? It's quiet right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to stand to your feet. And I want you to, with your voices and with your hearts, I want you to run to the Father. Just run to the Father. And just give him the steering wheel of your life. And remember, do it right now and practice these principles right now. Let's worship the Father.